Kia ora koutou, Reese from QuickSense here, and in today's lesson we're looking at proportion. Now with proportion you're often given a baseline or something to compare to, and in this instance we're given a car which travels 200 kilometers in 3 hours and 20 minutes. The first thing I'm going to begin with is by changing 3 hours and 20 minutes into minutes. So what's that? Well, it's 3 times 60 plus 20, which is 200 minutes. And this is just going to make it easier to do all of my calculations. So if it's 200 kilometers per, right, let's write that down, per 200 minutes. So for every 200 kilometers, well, how many minutes is it going to take to go for 1 kilometer, right? And that's going to allow me to scale up much easier. Well, 1 kilometer, I have to divide this by 200. Divide that by 200. I've got to do it over here too. So 1 kilometer per every minute. And we can think of that the other way around. It's 1 minute per kilometer. So what does that mean for this? How many minutes to cover 60 kilometers? Well, to go from 1 to 60, I multiply by 60. And I have to do the same to the time, because I'm not speeding up. So it's 60 kilometers per 60 minutes, or 1 hour. Another way of thinking about this is that this person is going 60 kilometers per hour. In this question, Russell is distributing some candles in a pretty interesting way, right? He's dividing it up in a certain ratio, 1 to 2 to 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about this in terms of dividing it up, and I'm going to ask if I have groups of 1, 2, and 3, how many of those groups can fit into 48? So it's 48 divided by a whole group. And a whole group is 1 plus 2 plus 3, which is 48 divided by 6, which is 30 plus 18, or 8. Okay, so every single person, right, so what we're getting here is there are 8 groups. So if there are 8 groups, right, then we're going to change this to 1 times 8. This one becomes 2 times 8, and 3 times 8. So what does this become? Well, let's make these different colors here. Let's use a blue. Okay, so the 1, right, that becomes 8. The 2 becomes 8 times 2, 16, and 24. And then we can get a calculator out and make sure that this adds up to 48. If you want to check that. But this is how it's been split. Russell then gives away his share to Sam, John, and Bill. How many will Bill get? Well, which share has Russell got? He gives himself the largest share. So Russell's share, his share, is the 24. So now we're going to do the same thing. Right? We begin with 24, and I'm dividing it by 1 plus 2 plus 3 by the group, which is 6. 6 goes into 24 4 times. So here are my groups. 1 times 4, 2 times 4, and 3 times 4. Just so that's really clear. This is the biggest group in the middle to begin with. So Sam gets 4, John gets 8, and Bill gets 12. How many candles will Bill get? 12 candles.